video, we're going to be discussing how to create an image of your current hard disk or SSD using the backup process in RescueZilla. Now, this backup process is going to create a folder with a bunch of files in it that basically include all the contents of the hard drive that the backup is occurring on. So this can be used as a backup, as it says, but it also can be used as a copy for an image that you may want to put on additional machines that are identical to this one. So we're going to make an image of this Chromebook's hard drive. Now, this Chromebook happens to have an SSD in it. It's not very big. It's 16 gigabytes, and it is something that we have set up on this Chromebook. It is not Chrome OS. It is a Linux image, but it's one that we use here at Second Chance to be able to copy it to multiple other devices. Now, there's a bunch of more steps that you have to do in terms of making sure that you've got the Chromebook set up properly and configured as you want. But we're just going to go through the steps right now of RescueZilla that allows you to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the backup icon. When we click on the backup icon, the first thing we have to do is choose which of the devices out there are we going to utilize. And we're going to be utilizing the SSD that's built into this Chromebooks. Now, it could be a hard drive, it could be an SSD or anything. But in our case, I happen to know that it's this particular device right here. Now, when I click on that, that's saying this is going to make a duplicate of this particular SSD. So I'm going to choose Next. Now, the next step asks you to select the partitions. Well, in this case, I want to take all the partitions, so I want to make an exact duplicate image of this particular hard drive or SSD. So I'm going to leave all of those partitions selected. Next, it's going to say, where do I want to put this particular image? Now, I can put it on a lot of different things. I happen to be putting it on just another USB drive that I have stuck into the system here. But I could put it on a shared network drive if I had set it up and put this on a Wi-Fi and I had some kind of NAS device or a server or something that I want to put the image on. All I have to do is tell it shared over the network. But because we're going to be putting this on just a flash drive, I'm going to choose the very bottom choice here, which happens to be the flash drive that we're going to store this image on. Now, from this flash drive, it's going to create a folder that's going to be the image that includes a bunch of files. If I want to copy that whole folder to another flash drive or to other device or something, then I want to make sure I copy the whole folder. I'll demonstrate that in a couple of minutes. I'm going to choose Next at this point. And now it's asking me to browse to select the folder or the destination drive where you want the new image. We're just going to put it on the root of that. So it's under the Mount Backup in this case. It's nothing to reuse that I have to worry about. I'm just going to hit Next. And now it's going to ask me for the name of the image that I'm going to create. Right now it has 2024 914, and then it says Image Rescue FileZilla. I can call this anything I want. So what I'm going to do is change this name to something. This was a click up there. I'm going to change this name to whatever I want that image to be called. In this case, I want it to be MX Linux. Sorry about bouncing the camera. And I'm just going to say MX image, if I could spell Linux right. I'm just going to leave it as MX Linux. Oh boy, Linux. I'm going to choose Next down to the bottom. And then I'm just going to say, go do it. Now, I could customize the settings on this, but I'm just going to leave them on the default. And it's now telling me what it's going to do. It's going to copy that source drive, which is the SSD that's in this Chromebook. And it's going to say it's going to be copying both partitions, and it's going to be copying it to a folder on my flash drive. I choose next, and it just goes through it. And I'm going to stop this and then start it again once it gets completed. All right, so it's now finished, and it took just over 6 minutes. Now, this particular hard drive or SSD that's in my Chromebook is not very big. It's about 16 gigabytes. The image is about 14.5 gigabytes. But here in a minute, we'll take a look and see what the final result is, because it compresses the data down to a much smaller image. So you don't have to worry about the image being such huge size. So I'm going to hit next, and it takes us back to our main menu, but I'm going to leave the RescueZilla menu and come back to basically the desktop of RescueZilla, and I'm going to go to the File Manager. And once the File Manager is open, I'm going to go to the USB drive where I put the MX Linux. Sorry about that, it's shaking quite a bit. Not having earthquakes. And I'm going to go to the properties here to see how big that particular device is. Remember, the image itself is compressed, so it's now showing the total file size of 2.4 gigabytes. And remember, the original, even with data, was about 10 gigabytes. With free space and everything, it comes to about 15 gigabytes. So it's significantly reduced. So you can actually have multiple images easily on a single USB drive. This happens to be a 32 gigabyte USB drive, and you can see I've got 3 different images on there right now. And so it's going to be a very useful tool. All right, hopefully this has been helpful to you. And have a good one. Stay tuned for other videos.